Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So in the past I've had a play with some modern classics in art. I've had a go with Picasso, I've had a play around with Mondrian, and I thought today that I would have another go at playing around with an iconic image from the last century. So I'll turn over to my overhead camera and show you what I'm going to try. So this is my small Dylusions journal, and I have a little pot of water and a couple of colours to start working on my background. So I have Naples yellow and I have yellow ochre, and all I'm going to do is just take some paint, add a little bit to my craft mat, and yes, that was Mr. Bentley trying to get my attention. Somebody wants to have a play, thinks it's playtime. And I'm just going to pick up some colour and I'm just going to randomly paint it into the background. And if you can hear that, that was the sound of Ian coming in from the garage. My new art room is right above the garage door. So I'm just creating a random background just with those two different kind of colours, just to give it a bit of texture, a little bit of difference in tone. Just adding just a touch of water just to get it to move a bit. I haven't gessoed the pages for no other reason than I just didn't really want to, but I could have done just as easily. Just layer that paint on, just horizontal and vertical brush strokes. Just to get a little bit of texture and difference in areas, some darker areas, some lighter areas, that's all we need. I'll try and get rid of that bit in the middle, and that'll do, I think. So I'll give my brush a wash and then I'll give that a blast with a heat gun and I'll be right back. So now that's dry, I'm going to be using this profile stencil from Indigo Blue, and I've just masked off with a bit of washi tape two of the neck pieces that I don't want. So I'm going to position it around about there on my page, and I have some jet black archival ink and I have an ink blending tool, and I'm just going to very, very gently run that ink through the stencil. This will obviously create the shape of the face that I want to use. These stencils are really, really good if, like me, you're not particularly good at drawing faces and just need that little bit of helping hand. Now you'll see how this stencil was really good, well, I think anyway, a really good choice for this particular subject matter when I show you what the original picture. You'll probably guess it as soon as I start laying down the colour actually, but I just want to bring that up there and then just bring in a little bit there. I think that's going to be just about perfect. Okay. So I'm just going to give that a quick blast with a heat gun just to make sure that the ink is completely dry before I move on to the next step. So my stenciling is completely dry now, and just while I was waiting for that to finish just cooling down, I just grabbed a pencil and I just kind of sketched in roughly where I want my lady's hair to be based on the original painting that I'm trying to kind of mimic today. Now some of you may have already kind of been able to guess who it is or which image it is that I'm trying to do, just based on what she's actually wearing. That mandarin collar is kind of a bit of a giveaway, but we'll see whether you get it, because I will show you the painting at the end and you can compare how I've done with what it actually looks like. So before I do anything else, I'm going to have a go at doing her lips. Now I'm just bringing in some paint, Postbox Red acrylic paint from Indigo Blue, and I'm probably making a rod for my own back here because I probably should have done this in pencils instead, because I'm not a particularly good painter, so you'll have to forgive me if I don't quite get this perfect. But like I said, it is only a play. I'm not hoping to create a modern masterpiece out of all this lot. So literally, I'm just playing about. I've been without an art and craft room for so long, it's just nice to be able to sit down and just create something, even if it's just not all that serious and just a little bit of fun. Okay, so that's it for that red for now. So I'm going to give that a blast. Okay, so that's now dry. So I have some Mars Black acrylic paint, and I'm going to just use this fine detail brush just to see if I can create the outlines that I want to keep in the painting. So I haven't used this for a while, as you can tell. It's all gummed up a bit. A little bit of black there. And then I'm just going to start adding some paint. So the first thing I'm going to do is just paint in the lines of the shoulder. Bearing in mind, this is just a rough painting. The reason I'm using black is because I've obviously used black on her face, so it all kind of ties it all together. Of course, it's okay to turn. And then the top of a collar. Just a little bit more. And then last bit of detail at the bottom of a collar, just there. So as you can see, her head is tilting over to her left. Cool, and then I can start just drawing in that rough shape of where I want her hair to be. And then hairline here. She has a very kind of 1950s kind of hairstyle. That's because the original painting that I'm kind of emulating was painted in 1952. There we go. So one more sweep of that Mars black just to join up there. And then we can start adding in some brush strokes for her hair, just to kind of give it a little bit of movement. On the original painting, this is mostly black. You can't really see anything other than the black. It's almost a solid with a few kind of whitish highlights. So I'm just going to create some swirls and flowing locks, if you like, just by using the brush strokes. Because I'm not trying to recreate it perfectly. This is a painting just based loosely on this kind of famous painting from the 50s. This particular painting has always kind of stuck in my memory, because when I was growing up there was a print of this particular painting hanging on the wall of one of my neighbours' homes, and I always thought, even back then, that it was a strange painting, but you'll see why once I've added in the flow. Was it even for 1952 standards? It was a bit weird, which is, I suppose, one of the reasons why it was so popular back then. If you haven't guessed which one it is already, it was a painting of a Chinese lady or Chinese girl painted by a Russian artist called Vladimir Trichkov. And at one point, prints of this particular painting were outselling every other kind of modern art print right the way across the world. And I read something recently that the owner of the original of this painting didn't even know that the prints for it were being sold worldwide, and how famous the actual painting was that she had hanging on her wall. She had no idea for years that her painting was, you know, very, very famous and worth a lot of money. It finally changed hands again recently, I think it was a couple of years ago, for an astronomical sum. But there you go. Okay, I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to wash off that brush. Like I said, this is only a play. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can just clean that brush, get that dried, and then we'll see about starting to colour her face. Okay, I've decided I'm going to try and do this with my Faber-Castell Artist Pip pens. I'm going to add in some of the darker colours, and then what I can do is I can just blend them just gently with my finger, just to get that kind of colour balance that I want. Of course, I am going to get the right kind of skin tone as well for her while I do this, so yeah, that's working pretty good. That's cool. I think probably this is going to take a little while to do, so I will probably put this on fast forward and then play some music while I'm doing this and blending it all together. Okay, so I've just kind of abstractly put in the pattern on her tunic. Now on the original painting, her eyes are more closed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave those with the yellow, but just take a little bit of that green for her eyes, and I'm just going to kind of blend them in, because she's kind of looking in the wrong direction anyway for the painting, but this is just kind of taking my inspiration from that. And I'm just going to take a little bit of brown, just put a little overlay of brown just to darken that top part of the eye up, and then just with a Q-tip I'm just going to rub gently just to kind of blend that colour together, just to darken the eye up just a little bit, just so it looks a little bit more kind of authentic. I'm just going to take some colour on the end of a Q-tip, just add in a little bit of dark shadow, just where that green doesn't kind of want to play, just to add a bit of age, a bit of warmth. Just under the eyes. And predominantly I'm going to keep her the same colour. Put a little bit of brown up there. And I think I'm actually going to leave it there, and I'm going to bring in the original picture so you can see The Chinese Girl by Vladimir Tretchikov, painted in 1952. So what's old is now new again. Oh, I'm missing one last little thing. One last little thing. Let's see whether this will work. Let's see if I've got a uniball pen that will actually do its job. There we go. brand new. So all I have to do is I just want to put a couple of catch lights on the lips, and maybe just one or two in her eyes. Is that enough? Is that too much? How's that? And when I printed this off, it's obviously printed a little bit more bluey than green, but there you go. A little bit of fun. So I'm just using that white pen, and I'm going to just write in exactly what I just said a while ago. What's old is new again. And then I'm going to sign it and date it. And then I'm going to call this art journal page done. So a little bit of fun there with a modern classic from Vladimir Trechikov. So if you're a Star Trek fan, and I'm sure you'll agree, she turned out to look like a little bit like an Orion slave girl, didn't she? But I like her. I think she's really, really cute. So that's all from me for today. If you've enjoyed this, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share the video with all your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now.